Hello there. My name is BobbySapphire. Welcome to the resurrection of my acclaimed Star Wars card podcast, where I invite prominent Star Wars Unlimited players and deck builders on to talk to me so I can make one simple demand of them. Show me your deck. Today, I have on Tim T85 Challenge from Team Enigma. You know him as a 6-time PQ champion. Tim most recently won a PQ with Yoda Green Force. He also took that deck to the top 4 of the Sector Qualifier last season. He also took it to the Two Moons Invitational to a third place finish, so I had to get him on to talk about the deck. I've been playing the deck a ton, so we had a lot to talk about. If this is your kind of show, or you know someone who might like this show, please subscribe anywhere you get podcasts or YouTube and send it to someone you know who might like it because they like their swoo with a side of a sick brew. All right, let's hit it.
Hello guys, thanks for the invite. I'm Tim from Germany. I'm part of Team Enigma, and I play recently only the Yoda Green deck, which many of you guys probably know. I won a PQ with it, which made the deck kind of popular, and then I brought it to the Sector Qualifier in Munich and made top 4 with the deck. So I think the deck is quite strong. It has only a few weaknesses and has basically match up into anything, which makes the deck so powerful in my opinion.
Yeah, and so this is your list from the Two Moons Challenge, which you
Yes.
played it at, and I think you came in second. I meant to look this up, but did you come in second or
Um, It was a double elimination bracket, so I made third place in
third?
the
Okay.
in the tournament.
Yeah, and then obviously your PQ win, that was one of what? You have 6 PQ wins now?
Yes.
6. That's crazy. That's definitely, I think it's probably even more than Alex. I don't know. You guys were kind of neck and neck over the last year or so.
Yeah, like I saw that there is the fan leaderboard,
Yep.
and there were always the same guys over me. Like it was Diofe from French, who's
Yep.
very there on top. Alex is very high on top, and I think Wu is also up there some, but I'm not sure. I haven't looked at it for a while, so.
Yeah, same. Yeah, DFA got 14 French PQs for this season. So,
Okay, that's crazy.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know how we're gonna be able to hang with that, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
reevaluate my life after season 1.2 here.
Yeah, I
Um,
already looked at the German PQs. There are only not that much this season, and the ones I wanted to go there, I looked up for the tickets and they were sold out already. So
oh my God. Well, and then of
it's kind of
course,
annoying. But then I will go to the sectors in Paris and Netherlands, and I will probably also go to Milwaukee for the regional. But I'm not sure
oh,
if
let's
I can
go.
make it.
Coming to Milwaukee, we'll have to have you over for dinner. We got like a crazy like 25 room house for our giant team.
Okay, that's amazing.
Um, did you get tickets for Netherlands? Because I heard it sold out in 15 minutes.
Yeah, for Netherlands I got tickets.
All right. Guess who else got tickets to Paris? Your guy. I'll see you in
You guys.
Paris. Let's go.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's nice, and we will meet there.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Awesome. All right. So, I mentioned this briefly to you right before we get started, but definitely took notice of your Yoda Green deck last season. Like you said, you won a PQ. But then it was that weekend where you got the top 4 at the sector, and I actually get to see you play it. That I was kind of like, okay, this is kind of dirty. I like this a lot, and I've been playing a ton of this, so I'm gonna pick your brain a little bit about this. The number one thing that I look at when I look at your list is that the 2 drop spot is not what I think most people would expect. For you to have a force base, but only 2 Yaddles as your 2 drops. Obviously, Mina Bonteri, very strong new addition, but Battlefield Marine, Phoenix Squadron A Wing, why are these more important than, say, like Gungi or Secret Sage? Secretive Sage.
That's an easy question because like the you don't need the force before 8 resources. Because the main reason we play the force is the Yoda unit, and it's absolutely worth it for this unit to play the force because it's so OP in this deck. And so we don't need the force early, and we play no Chirrut anymore. Even that's even a bigger reason not to play Frianos anymore. Was the reason why I cut down to 2 because I think Mina is just a bit better with the ability. And units like Gungi, the 5 health isn't even this much of an advantage because we want to that our own units die
Yeah.
because of Yoda. that we can trigger his ability or use cards like You Are My Only Hope earlier in the game or Spark of Hope. That's why Battlefield Marine is so much better, in my opinion, than Gungi. Yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
basically it.
and it also when you can make a trade like that on turn two, especially Battlefield Marine, being able to kill something,
Yes.
die back, and now all of a sudden you're threatening like a serious "You're my only hope." Um, although I guess one of the cards that well, I don't want to move on too far to "You're my only hope" yet, but have you tried Queen Amidala in the deck? Because I put Queen Amidala in, and she's been quite nice for the turn two "You're my only hope"
Yeah, I
against things like
tried
Mech and Data Vault.
as a one-off, but I haven't played her that much because, like, in theory, I think it's more like a matchup thing against hard control.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't see the place for it because, in my opinion, it doesn't help in the toughest matchup, which is definitely space aggro or aggro in general. So I didn't put her in. And against control, I think we have enough after sideboarding. So I thought we also don't need her there, and so I cutted her.
Got you. Cool. Yeah, I like the idea of like building into these early drops that are automatically going to die. I've really enjoyed doing like a very early and aggressive "You're my only hope" when I have something really nice to play. Talk to me about the ramp here. We got Spark of Hope, Resupply, and Resupply Carrier. Um, we must be looking to ramp every game.
Yes. Basically, in almost any game. Against aggro, if you have certain lines, for example, against the bean, if you have like Yaddle or Miner turn one and then Blue Leader turn two, like then you can just go on the ground turn one and have if they go space, you have the Blue Leader as an answer, which is great. Like there are some situations where you don't have, if the curve is very good in the matchup, you don't have to mulligan for ramp. But in almost any matchup, I mulligan for ramp because you want to ramp on turn two, basically any matchups matchup because the good things you can play are from turn three because there you can start the You Are My Only Hope combos with Luke and Kelleran or even on six into home one. And basically on six resources, the resupply carrier is just OP because it rams you into the Yoda flip. So normally this card is very slow because on six resources you just play a 4/5 ship that rams. And in any deck it's basically too slow, but in this deck it's just OP because you can flip Yoda. And Yoda has one of the strongest leader deploys in the whole game and is the best 7 deploy leader. So you deploy the Yoda after playing the ship, kill a unit, attack with Yoda, get the force, and even more stronger thing, next turn you basically skip the 7 resource turn and have next turn access to the Yoda unit, which then kills the unit because the ship always stays in play. Because like there's no reason for the opponent to remove it. So the Yoda unit automatically shields 6 damage most of the time at least, because you have the sticky Yoda leader with 9 health, you have the ship, and you have the Yoda unit, and 6 damage is a lot. If you also heal 5 damage.
Yeah,
This
and
combo is just
that's
insane.
all of that is not even taking into account like what else you could already have on the board and things like Typho, Itinerant
Yeah.
Warrior that are already creating chip damage. I've really liked the sequence of um, like getting the trade in, playing my resupply carrier, then triggering my Yoda. Um, and then when the 8 drop Yoda comes out, um, I guess the sequence I want to say is like it helped like because you got to 6, you went from 6 to 7 faster, and you're better protected. Your Yoda's going to die less often. You're going to get that 2 restore, and then you go right into the Yoda restore. And now it's not like you're restoring 2, you start restoring 7, and then God forbid you
Yeah.
hit like your clone or your itinerant warrior. I have gone. You mentioned Chirrut earlier, and I did go back and try versions that were more heavily force based,
Okay.
early force game with Chirrut, and I found that like when Chirrut was standing next to Yoda, it was almost impossible for the opponent to even attack because of the Chirrut trigger procking Yoda and just
Yeah,
annihilating
that's
anything on the ground.
Yeah, I had the situation, but like in the case where you have Yoda unit and then have the turret and it blocks the ground, I have had never any scenario where the turret won me the game because I had already won in that spot.
Gotcha.
Like it's basically win more the combo in my opinion. It's basically like, and the difference to if you have the Yoda out and the clone and then clone the Yoda, it's basically instant win, and that's most of the time also a win more combo. But there are scenarios where this combo just is the only way to win. So that's why I still have the one clone, and the turret is like if the opponent has often a way to play around it, and if you play the turret and then they remove the Yoda, you can have a problem
Yeah.
because like you. Itinerant Warrior is just more consistent because you instantly use the force, and then you can kill any unit on the board. And Chirrut only helps into the ground, so I that's why I also went up for a second to three internal warriors, but then came down again to two because I wanted to have the third vanquish
Yeah.
against space decks, which play big ships. So I just wanted to have more removal there.
Yeah, and you
And there are also many people ask me why I don't play Felder Dragon in the deck. And the simple question was just because we have so many resources with the deck and we always ramp on turn two to have the flexibility to kill any unit. And we basically don't need to play Felled Dragon for four resources ever. Like the only spot where Felled is better when we can maybe play it for four and then have 11 resources, play another seven drop. But because the deck always wants to go to 12 resources because of the home one synergies, I think playing Vanquish over Fell is the right decision because we have more flexibility with it.
Yeah, it's just ultimately insanely flexible, and it, like you said, if you're
Yeah.
ramping on two, you're always getting to five if you're caught with a situation that you need. I've really liked Itinerant Warrior to trigger the Yoda. I do think like a lot of my teammates have been trying a Data Vault version of this, but I with a top end that's
Hmm.
like they're getting big Bo Katan blowouts. But that Yoda, the Yoda trigger following the Yoda flip, it just creates, like you said, these insurmountable board states. The
Yeah.
places where I had liked the Chirrut, and maybe Typho's just as good, just because he always gets the one heal. But the
Hmm.
places these like go wide spy decks, I found like if they're able to put any kind of pressure on you, that the Chirrut sort of slams that away in a way that Typho doesn't, even with the healing. But I do like you've played this so much more than me. I'm kind of going through the progressions of trying things that I'm sure you've vetted long ago, or even just played because Typho wasn't out yet, so you were playing a more Chirrut based sort of aggro defense. How are you feeling? So we talked about Vanquish, which was obviously something I was going to ask you about. I really like the two Rivals Falls. The clone. Do you ever find yourself cloning anything other than Yoda? Do you sometimes clone Kelleran or Luke?
Yes, against hard control deck, it sometimes happens even you search with Caloran, and then you search the clone to clone your own Caloran and have another unit on the board, which happened a lot. And sometimes I clone something like opponent's Luke, or against Cat Bane, if you just can clone their Cat Bane unit to steal their Cat Bane unit back, then you have all your units back, which is also a nice synergy.
Yeah,
Against like any high drop from the opponent, you can use it. And I cloned my own Lukes, but in 90% of the cases I want to clone my Yoda unit
gotcha.
because this combo is just insane. Like heal another five and then shoot twice.
Yeah,
It's
the double
just game
shoot
winning
is
against any deck that
crazy.
doesn't play SLB. You just have the win on the spot.
All right, and the last thing I want to ask you about before we talk about matchups is Traitorous. This is a card that I think is like kind of a large liability right now with Outer Rim Constable sort of like showing up in all the red decks is just like an easy, really cheap and easy way to main deck upgrade removal. So are you thinking that you're going to stick with Traders going forward? Because that was probably like when I started playing this, the first card that I got rid of. Is this mainly for like Falcon and Space Aggro kind of stuff?
Traitorous you basically need against Hungry because if they go Falcon into Chewie, you lose most of the times. So you need the traders for that, because if you can ramp into traders and steal something like this from the space pilot decks, you just win on the spot. And the Han green decks, the most like space decks are green. The green yellow space decks don't have the red upgrade hate, so it's fine in these matchups. And like a lot of decks also don't have the upgrade hate in the main deck. So if they then sideboard a lot of upgrade hate in after siding, you can just sideboard the traitors
Right.
out
Yeah.
because it's too risky. And against Hungry, you need this card, in my opinion. Otherwise, the matchup is just, it feels so bad because I hate Hungry, in my opinion. It's the worst deck in the game because this combo is just stupid. Like knowing you won or lost on turn two, depending on your answer. It's just stupid, the deck, in my opinion. Han Green was such a cool deck in set one, and then they destroyed it with this stupid card. Like I can shit talk Chewbacca the whole day if I want because it's my most hated card in the game by far.
Yeah, I think that's. I know a lot of players who are good players and hate that card because of the non-interaction. I do love that there are cards that do this. It's possible that Chewbacca is too powerful and has too few answers, but I do. One of my big problems with the game in general, if I have like a problem with the game, is that all the games feel the same. We're all just like good players trying to play these value engines and get control of a board state. We're all brawling. and there aren't too many different ways to play the game. And playing something like when we used to play Tarkin and put a million experience tokens on a lurking TIE Phantom, or you have something like Chewbacca, at least lets you attack the meta in a way that's different. But I get you. There probably aren't enough answers in all the colors, and it is a pain in the ass card. And
Yeah.
I had a 1K yesterday, and all week I was going to play Yoda, and I really couldn't beat any of the hard control decks. And that's what I thought people would play. So I want to talk to you about that next. I ended up switching to Han One
Yeah.
Green, and then I played like all Han One Green mirrors all day. So I don't think I would have had any more fun playing this without the traitoresses. But so you mentioned earlier that you like the post sideboard, which I guess like we could segue to the sideboard for a second because I can pop back and forth. But post sideboard, you like what you have for control, and I'm
Yes.
and for the control here you have like an additional home one, restock, two salvage.
Exactly.
So I guess like what swings that hard control? Is it just the salvage being able to play infinite home ones, and you go to 12 resources, and you start playing home one into Keller and back?
Yes, that's basically the game plan, like to get the most value before that. Like have if you have Mina Pontari turn one, it helps a lot because you save a card in your hand which you can then later resource because to come without spending without getting two less in your hand to come to 12 is very important. Like if you play home one into Caloran and then one more thing, basically you force an SLB and you want them to run out of SLBs. There are sometimes even games like the most of the control decks are with data vaults, so they have 60 cards, and it's very rare that they have three SLBs. And there are two main things to clear your board are either SLB or some timely capital ship or timely wader. That are the most things to clear your board. And if you play around it, there were games against hard control where they played three SLBs and three timelies on capital ships, and I still won because of the to play five home ones is just so powerful, and that they if they have three SLBs, like it's not enough most of the time, so that's why the matchup failed great. But if they can sometimes get lucky with vigilance or stuff like that, it can be quite tough. That's also why I put the one restock in deck. Many people are not a fan of one restock because they just say they have to keep then one vigilance. But in my opinion, it's like if they have to keep one vigilance, my deck basically has for one restock six cards more in it, and the chances that they mill important home ones or something are lower. So that's why I like it. And if they play all three vigilances earlier, because they like want to mill me as fast as possible, and then I have to restock, I can just restock my whole home ones, and they basically lost. So that's another card which I put only in for 2 moons because I know there were a lot of Pep 6 Data World player. So I knew this card just crushes those decks and won me also against Yona, who won the Munich sector, the second game because of the restock. So I think it's with the Savage and the extra home one, it's a good matchup.
Yeah, I love that plan. I love everything you just outlined. Did you consider tech because you have Spark of Hope, which is really good because you can basically get infinite techs, and then with salvage in home one, you can get infinite techs that way. It allows you to resource your restock and play it later from your row when you have tech. So did you ever try or look at tech for a sideboard plan, or you just think there's not enough space in the sideboard, or even the main
Uh,
deck?
it's it's exactly like that. I don't think we have the space in sideboard and in the main deck because I don't only think it's good in this matchup against hard control. And like the home ones and the savages are, in my opinion, just better than a copy of tech.
What about
Because like if
in
you play tech, you want them one tech to stick at least one turn that you can play one something after. And basically they will just spend a removal on tech and it's not worth it to go for one of tech, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
it was the Spark of Hopes that made me think about tech because I love the combination of Spark of Hope and tech. Your opponent works so hard to get rid of a
Yeah.
tech and you just get him back. So it was just
That's
something
true,
that was
but
rattling in my head.
like the main issue is against control is that you run out of cards, and the tech always helps the control player to mill yourself because you always have to play something into your resources. And if it's like if you put then a homeboard into your resources, you basically just fucked. So I don't like it.
All right. And then are you still resourcing to 12 versus control? Is that will your stop, or will you try and limit how deep you go on the resourcing and only like resource if
Um,
you draw like resupply or something?
the thing why you go with this deck, like your highest costing card is 8, but the thing uh, you are in a lot of matchups on 12 is because there are many cards in the late game which doesn't with do nothing. Like for example, the resupplies are instant resources always. The You Are My Only Hope is not good after amount of resources. So that's cards which always will go into the resource and the Spark of Hopes. So you basically will go automatically to these resources because of a lot of bad cards, which are only good in the early game. And with the cycling from Yoda, you can basically get to the cards you want. And because the 12 users with home one into a Caloran or Luke is so strong, or Caloran into home one, or Caloran into Yoda, or home one into Yoda is even also sometimes a thing, then you can just go to 13, which I does a lot of times is stop at 11. And then
Into
if I see I want to play something for 12 next turn, then I will just resource 10 when I need the 12 resources. So that's basically the thing. And you are very fast at 8. So you most of the games you will just come to the spot where you have 9, 10, 11 resources.
cool. And how's the daughter been? Has she been enough against the aggro decks for the healing?
Daughters only against space aggro. Um, but I don't know if maybe I want to cut her. It's like a one-off. Is if you don't you it's a bit random, and because I cutted a lot of the early space units, the strong thing about Dodger is if you have a Yaddle and Obi-Wan and a turret, like you have a lot of heal because then they attack your base, you attack with a force unit, you get the force back, then you use the force again with Dodger. Because of the less space units, maybe I will cut her for a third hyperspace disaster. Because of the ramp, I think the hyperspace disaster is just more important. And I lost also in the 2 months championship event. I lost because I didn't found the hyperspace disaster. If I had the hyperspace disaster, I would have won the third game against Han for Tarkentown.
Mm-hmm.
So, and space aggro, in my opinion, is still the biggest problem for the deck.
Yeah. Did you try Bright Hopes? Did you ever go Bright Hope alongside Eager Escort Fighter to sort of mitigate that space lane?
I didn't because I think Bright Hope is a bit too slow, and because of the two attack, it doesn't kill any unit back. It just slows them a bit down, which is basically not enough most of the time. And I want to find spot to ramp at any time because if I the important thing is to go to the Yoda unit. If you don't have to come to the Yoda unit, you will not win the game
Nothing
in
matters anyway.
most scenarios because this is like the card that changes the game. So, and the ramp is very important against the pilot decks because you want to have the rivals fall against the leader. And for example, against Han 4, you want to be at 6 resources to either play the rivals fall or the resupply carrier to flip that into Yoda. So I
Yeah.
don't think Home One fits in the deck.
I just right before we were recording, I lost to a Kaz yellow that I had drawn both my uh, rivals falls, and I was all set. And he jammed one, and then he did the random discard for cunning and got the other one, and I and I
Oh,
lost. Yeah, the space
that's
has
so
been tough, but I've
unfortunate.
been trying to take that matchup as much as I can because I want the reps. Because
Yeah.
I'm just really enjoying this deck. Is there anything that you mentioned to me when I asked you to come on originally is that you didn't think that there were many changes that needed to happen. What are you willing to share any changes that you're looking at or even potential things for us to test so people who are listening and watching can try some things out?
The thing I am a bit sorry about it. After the 2 months championship, I didn't touch the game anymore. So I just was like partying all the weekends and didn't go to weeklies or stuff like that. That's a bit of a problem. My next tournament is in 2 weeks. So from before that and after that, I have more tournaments. Then I will go more into the list. But from now, I will probably switch the daughter for third hyperspace disaster because this card is key against the because a lot of players are now on hand for Tarkentown, and this card is key in the matchup. And because they also have a lot of space arrow decks play like gem communication. And then you sometimes even want to keep two hyperspace disasters. As if they steal one, you have the second one.
Mm-hmm.
So I will probably go there up one. And about the main deck, I think it's, in my opinion, as far very, very perfect. I wouldn't change anything about the main deck from now.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you let us know that you've been partying. Spoken like a true 19-year-old. That's great. I'm living a different life than you, making grilled cheeses and mac and cheese before I can come on real quick and get my kids
Yeah, I
situated.
probably will do that if I'm older, but the last weekend was very stressful again. I drank a bit too much alcohol, and then my friends had to get me home, and I didn't remember anything. But yeah, that's life.
That certainly is. I mean, listen, when I was 19, I was traveling around to card tournaments with my friends. I was partying too much. I think you're doing it perfect. Um,
Yeah,
listen, I really
just
appreciate
the mix, the right balance is the key. Like partying and card games, you have to find the right mix.
you do have to find the right mix, but when you're 19, you don't need to find the mix. Like you can mess around any
Yeah,
way you want. You'll recover
definitely.
fast, and you'll have fun either way. All right, so your first PQ's in 2 weeks. Is that the next event you have?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Well, good luck. We'll be watching. I appreciate you coming on. Is there anything you want to plug? Anybody else you wanted to shout out? Obviously, we shout out Team Enigma. I'll have a link if there's any. I'll have a link to this deck up. If there's anything else you want me to shout out, let's tell people.
I want to give a shout out to my friends, which always support me with the game, which play with me the big tournaments, which always let me sleep at their houses, and which I always invite to my place if there's a tournament nearby, which are basically like Heiko. He's a very good player from Germany, which talks a lot. Maybe you know him from his name because he is very active on social media
Hmm.
in Star Wars Unlimited. Then there's Cem, he's a famous Kira player from Germany who also made top 4 in Munich. There's, of course, Yona, who won the Munich sector, which is a very good friend from me. There's Paul, who is also a friend from Germany, who I spend a lot of time with and play Unlimited a lot with him. And yeah, thanks to those guys that they always support me and make the game so good for me.
That's awesome, man. Well, I really appreciate you coming on. I hope everyone appreciated this talk about Yoda Green Force. I know I did. People can check me at the next. Actually, I think when this drops, it'll be the night before the December 6th PQ in Connecticut. So you can see me there. Will I be rocking this deck? I think
Ah,
I
okay.
probably will.
Like on December 6th, there's also my PQ.
All right. Well, let's go win them together back to back.
Yes, that would be awesome.
All right, man. Thanks again.
Okay, thank you for having me. Was a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks again.